have generators for you guys today. I didn't really expect to see this show up. We have more Sky Striker, and we have a really cool anti-meta deck as well. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So we're going to be looking at Generaider here today. They just got, what is this, Vara? The Generator of Bosses. So you can only control one of these. You can only use each of the following effects of her once per turn. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, send one other Generator card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is special summon, you special summon one Generator monster from your hand or graveyard. So this whole life purpose of this is to facilitate out more of your combo line pieces so you can start setting up for, you guessed it, your Exceed plays. Now, we did get a new Exceed. This is Leviathan Generator Boss of Shadows. You can only control one of these. All monster opponent controls will lose 1,000 attack and defense, and quick effect contribute to this Exceed summon card, special summon a non-fairy Generator Exceed monster from your deck. It actually lets you mode change on into the big Jormungandr here. So we have 2 copies of Alistair the Invoker. I guess really cool that we're going to get access to Macabre plays. 2 copies of Ash Blossom, 1 Frody. We have 2 copies of Har, 1 copy of Hela. We have triple copies of Loptor, 2 copies of Mardel, 2 Maxis, 1 big old Space Rock, 1 copy of the Generator Boss of Ice, and then we have 1 Boss of Delusions. We have triple copies of the Sit Here Bosses. We have 2 Call by the Grave, your 1 copy of Croissant Designator, 2 Generator Boss Quest, triple Boss Stage, 2 Invocations, 2 Kujikiri Curse, 2 Meltdown, 1 Terraforming, triple Monstrosity. We have 1 Boss Room, and then we have 2 copies of Infinite Permanence. Down here in the extra deck, you have 2 Artemis, 2 Sacred Tree Hypertons, 1 Nine Lives Cat, 2 copies of Leviathan, 2 Jormungandr, 1 Zeus, 2 Macabre with 1 Elysium, 1 Kaliga, and then we have 1 Ogoides. Then we have 2 copies of Jerusalem, 2 copies of Dimension Shifter, 2 copies of Droll Lockbird, triple Big Ball, 1 Feather Duster, triple Raigeki, and 2 copies of Evenly Matched here, wrapping up your Generator pile. Next up here is going to be your anti-meta deck. Now, this is quite an interesting combination because we're just going to be relying on Fenrir plays, protecting our back row, setting up Necro Valley, and then, yes, we are playing the Supreme King Soul. Pay half your life points, so summon 1 Supreme King Zark from your extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions, but its effects are negated, and returns the extra deck during the end phase in the next turn. Alright, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, and banishes a card from your graveyard, and 1 Supreme King Zark from your monster zone, special summon up to 4 monsters from your hand deck and extra deck with Pendulum Dragon, Exceed Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon in their names. You're going to get to split into some very, very big monsters here to pressure the opponent, alright? Do not underestimate how good this card is. We have 2 copies of Effect Failure, triple copies of Fenrir, triple copies of Lava Golem, triple copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. We have 2 Maxis, 2 Lava Golems, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, triple Necro Valley, 2 copies of Desires with 1 Extrav, and 2 Pot of Prosperity. We have 1 Pariahs to search for Fenrirs. We have triple Crackdown with 2 Goes in Match, 1 Imperm, we have 1 Macrocosma, 1 Metaverse, 1 Rivalry, triple Skill Drain, and triple copies of the Supreme King's Soul. Extra deck down here, we have 1 Zeroboros, 1 Selene with 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 IP with 1 Dahark, we have 1 Asa with 1 Axis Code Talker, we have 1 Arc Rebellion, 1 Psychic and Punisher, 1 Crystal Wing, 1, 2, 3 Zarks, and then we have 1 Fusion Dragon and 1 Pendulum Dragon. And then we have 2 copies of Alpha, the Master Beast, 1 Jerusalem with 1 Magnamut, 2 copies of Dimension Shifter, 1 Pinkertops, 2 copies of Space Rock, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Feather Duster, and triple copies of Solemn Judgment here. Wrapping up your anti-meta Zark turbo deck. And once again, don't underestimate, being able to deploy, splitting this apart, making, all of these big powerhouse monsters, because your opponent's going to be like, what do I do here in this situation? Now, next up is a Sky Striker deck. Now that Spellbook of Judgment has, landed, I've been wanting to see some of the ideas that players will come up with here to, I guess, try to innovate this deck and allow it to, do its thing. Obviously, we just got linkage here in the TCG. We pretty much have everything that you need for this, minus the extra engage. Now, you do see that this list did cut back on Ray and Rose. With Magnanut and friends running around here, these are basically huge targets, to be picked off by these. Thank you, Light and Dark. mark, but basically you're going to rely on linkage to kind of allow you to set up and do your thing. So the little things to really consider here, how good linkage is. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. We have triple copies of Effect Feather, one copy of good old Jowgen, triple copies of the Maxi. We have 2 Space Rocks, 1 Ray with 1 Rose, and then we have 2 copies of Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. We have 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Necro Valley, 1 Area Zero with 1 Afterburners. We have 1 Hornet Drones, 1 Shark Cannon, triple copies of Widow Inky. We have 1 Multi-Roll, your 2 Engages, triple copies of Linkage, best card. We have 1 Spellbook of Fate, 1 Spellbook of Judgment, 2 copies of Knowledge, triple copies of Secrets, with 1 Terraforming, and then we are actually playing 1 Talents Tasking. It's getting you free access for pretty much all of your traps is really, really good. And we also have 1 Metaverse here to actually deploy out the Necro Valley. That's how devastating this actually can be. During the extra deck, we have 1 Zeke, triple copies of Shizu, 1 copy of Kaina with 1 Kagari, 2 Hayates, 1 Celine with 1 Almirage, 1 copy of Hida, 1 Dahark, 1 Asa with 1 access code. Then we have 1 Millenniumizer Strict. Then we have 1 Drewsworm with 2 Magna Nuts. We have 1 Pinkertops, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Feather Duster, 1 Triple Tactics Tasking. Then we have Triple Dimension Ground, 2 Dimensional Barrier, and 2 copies of Evenly Matched here. Wrapping up one of the more interesting, honestly, Sky Striker decks that I've seen floating around out here. Next up is, what is this? This was a Sprite pile. Yes, this is, the OCG still has Meow Meow Mew at 1. Think about this. This is what you could see for a pile. You have Bysteel in here. You have the Nimble package. You have your Minkanko stuff in here. You have your Splash package of Dropsies. It's a level 2 for the deck. You have your Adventure package. You have your Minkanko to search for, the Abreske. There's so many moving pieces in this deck that I think that this is really cool to see. The TCG only dreams that we could play something like this. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. We have 1 copy of the Bald Drake, 2 copies of Magnanet. We have 1 Droll and Lockbird, 1 Effect Veiler, your 1 Illegal Knight, 1 Magician Souls with triple copies of Maxi. We have 2 Nimble Anglers, triple copies of Nimble Beaver. We have 1 Ninny. We have triple copies of Dropsies, 1 Fansies, 1 Lampsies, and we have 2 Roxies along with triple Sprite Blue. Then we have 1 Sprite Carrot, 1 Sprite Jet, 1 copy of your Sprite Pixies, 1 Sprite Red, 1 Lubellion, 2 copies of Water Enchantress, 2 Illusion of Chaos, 1 Minkanko, and then we have 1 Abereske. And then we have 2 Called by the Grave, your 1 Crossout Designator, 1 Dracoback, 1 Faithful Adventure, 1 Foolish Barrel, 1 1-for-1, 2 copies of Place, triple Preparation of Rites, 1 Rite of Armesia, 1 Starter, triple Tactics Tasking with 1 Talents, and then we have 1 Dimensional Barrier and 1 Imperm. Then in the next deck we have 1 Unroll Goddess, 1 Sprite Sprint, 2 copies of Sprite Elf, 1 Meow Meow Mew, 1 Doodle Doop, 1 IP, 1 Ashima, 1 Apollosa with 1 Djinn Buster. We have 1 Ninja Mosquito, that's interesting to see. We have 2 copies of the Gigantic Sprite, 1 Zeus, and then we have 1 Dweller. Then we have 1 Drewsworm, 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird, triple copies of Space Rock, 1 Shaddoll Beast, 1 Anoyatalis, 1 Mind Control, triple copies of Shaddoll Fusion, 2 copies of Infinite Permanence, and we have 1 good old Sprite Double Cross here, wrapping up your pile. And the last list we have for you guys here is OCG Flounder, where they actually play Numbers of Veil. Your whole life's purpose with Numbers of Veil is you're going to streamline out a 4-material Rongo Bongo, and that's basically the game plan, guys. You combine your forces together to make Rongo Reminian, and then laugh at your opponent while doing Flounderies combo. Is good. I mean, it does things. I wish we could do things like this. We have 1 Barrier Statue of Storm Winds, 1 DD Crow, 2 copies of Dimension Shifter, triple Eagle. We have 1 Impen, triple copies of Rabina, 2 copies of Stritch, 1 Toucan, 2 copies of Maxi. We have 1 Apex Avian with 2 Rise of the Mega Monarch. We have 2 Called by the Grave, triple copies of the Advent of Adventure, 1 Magnificent Map, triple copies of Numbers of Veil, 2 copies of Pot of Duality with 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity, triple copies of Sales Ban, because, sales banning the Rongo Reminian is pretty good. We have 1 Terraforming, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Tasking, 1 Dreaming Town, and 1 Scary Sea. And then we have 1 number 9, 2 number 86, 1 84, 1 number 5, 1 number 4, 1 copy of number 4. We have 2 copies of Utopia, 1 Terabyte, 1 Lancelot, 1 Big Eye, 1 Assembled Nightingale, 1 Downer, and 1 Zeus. Then we have 1 Big Ball, 2 Cosmic Cyclones, 1 Unexplored Winds, 1 Feather Duster, 1 Lightning Storm, 2 copies of Raigeki, 2 copies of Dimensional Bear, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and 2 copies of Harpy's Featherstorm here, wrapping up your chunk of OCG decks. So, What do you guys think about these? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. There's a lot of cool things that we're still missing that I wish we could get the chance to see in the TCG, but I guess we'll have to wait. Peace out, guys. Have a good rest of your day, alright? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.